The lead out is coming, and now in third wheel is the pink jersey of Pataki. He has still got 2 men to use before the sprint. D'Amore is crowding in from the back. Up comes Pollock now. He moves up into the sprinter position, yet to win a stage there. Right on Pollock's wheel is Freddie Rodriguez. Rodriguez, Pollock right on the wheel now. It's Rodriguez who's got the wheel of Pataki. Well, this is going to be a vital 600 yards now for Fred. He's got to try and move out. He's got D'Amore with him here as Pagliarini tries to come up in the Lamprey colours on the right. Only one man leading now. Pataki takes him in. Pollock is on the wheel of Pataki. That could be significant. Pollock has gone on the left of our picture here and he's made a long run. Is this going to be at last a win for the German? No, it is not. As Alessandro Pataki is just too fast. He gets second. Pollock appeals. Bad sprinting, he says, because he only finished third this time.
Well, I think he might have had a good reason. You can just see Pollock there in the blue jersey lifting up his arm, but it was in fact before the final corner. There you can just see the hands coming off the handlebars. That is what's known as a Madison sling. Robbie McEwen was thrown up the outside of the bunch by one of his teammates. Highly illegal manoeuvre.
So as a result of that, McEwen disqualified to the back of the leading bunch of cyclists, bringing Thomas Vakus up into second place and Olaf Pollock promoted from fourth to third. Well, that looks as though Robbie McEwen chose his man again. He was second and disqualified to Pataki yesterday. He's now sitting there right on his back wheel. That looks as though Freddie Rodriguez is riding in 5th place and Nasduk's in 6th. So Nasduk's now able to sprint in his own right without Cipollini about him. Has got a real chance here now. This is the sharp right-hander. And somebody's gone really well out of it there. One of the teammates of Fassa Bortolo, one is left now to lead out Pataki for the line. But McEwen is still watching and waiting as we run into these final meters. And right behind McEwen is Fred Rodriguez. And so Pataki now second in line. The lead out, the final lead out. It's a perfect lead out again for Alessandro Pataki. But is he also leading out Robbie McEwen? Going on the far right is Freddie Rodriguez. Head down by Freddie. Freddie's got the front here. As they come up to the line now, he takes Pataki off his line. Rodriguez has got it on the line. And Pataki has got second.
Well, that is unbelievable. Freddie Rodriguez came from absolutely nowhere there. Alessandro Pataki was ideally set up by his teammates. They peeled off one at a time. You can see the joy there on the American. And that is the first American win at the Giro d'Italia for an awful long time. A little bit of weakness maybe this afternoon, Phil, in Team Fassa Bortolo because they are not dominant in the final few kilometres.
One does get that feeling. Now, it may be just a little hiccup in the system because Pataki's the man they want to get to the line. Well, as we speak, it's 3 plus Pataki. So they've used their effort there and their big strength to reorganise the front. But up comes the rush on the outside and beginning to move up now. It's Usov who's also come into the picture now. As Fred's got a bit of a rough ride there, I think, as he tried Nasduk's. He's trying also to get on, but that was Fred Rodriguez who bounced with Nasduk's as he tries to make the ground. D'Amore is also here as well on Fred's team.
Zanotti's up there too.
And Zanotti, the rider in the yellow, who has been sprinting well but not quite penetrating the top 1 or 2 riders to finish. This is a perfect lead out once again for Pataki, but can he get it right? Because there's a big rush of riders and they're swinging all liners there. Pataki looks as though he's going to make this one a formality though. This time he has got it absolutely right, and when he gets it right, it's a no contest game. So the tally was now up to 5 for Pataki, who was on a roll. The overall classification had Damiano Cunego in pink with Simoni at 10 seconds in second place. Pelazzotti was now up to third, and Jaroslav Popovic was still in the mix at fourth. When we come back, we return to the mountains. Stay with us. Let's pick up the action with the 23-year-old neo-pro Emmanuel Sella away in a successful break.
We're looking here at one lone leader now, and I really don't know where this man came from at all because he wasn't in the early morning breakaway. This is Emmanuel Sella of Team Panaria. In fact, he's caught the leading group of 9 riders. He's gone off on his own off the front end of the main field.
A problem here, and that looks like he's locked up on his back wheel there. I've got a feeling his chain must have jammed and he's getting going. I'm not too sure what happened.
He just came into the corner just a little bit too quickly and he was realising he had to change his direction, and what happened was he panicked a little bit, pulled the back brake on too hard, lost it going around the corner, and then decided the better part to balance. You can see everybody's getting caught by the severity of that corner.
And there they go, one after another. That's another crash on the same corner. That is absolutely amazing. So many top bike riders being caught out on this right-hand bend. Into the final kilometre for Emanuel Sella. It could only have been a dream until the last 5 or 10 minutes, because he could never have been sure, but he can be sure now. He'll get his first ever stage win and his first ever attempt at the Giro. He's heading up to the line, being chased by Hamburger, Moreni, Perez, Labato, Villa, Garate, Masson and Zampieri. There is the charge behind him. They'll be close, but they won't be close enough. And he is going to enjoy every second of this approach to the finishing line in Cesena. Remember, the birthplace of Marco Pantani. Has a new climber been found right here? Only the future will tell us that. Listen to the crowd cheering him on, because they will know exactly what he's been doing. Yes, he says, let's hear it for me. He can't believe it. 10 wins as an amateur, now his first big win as a professional. Emanuel Sella races to the line. Time does mean something to him. It will mean a higher place overall, but above all of that, it means he is going to win a stage of the Giro d'Italia. The clock will start as he hits the line. The time gains will accelerate him up the classification, but for now, he'd be happy with the win. So the courageous ride has paid off and Sella gets the victory. On stage 12, Alessandro Petacchi was now starting to make it look all too easy by grabbing his 6th win in 12 attempts, matching his total for last year. Stage 13 was this year's only time trial, a long way at 52 kilometres and based in Trieste. Simoni has just fallen from his machine here. Sharp right-hand bend, goes on a bit too much as he comes off that bend. Watch the white lines there. And that's where they'll probably clip that white line and hit the road. This is the big danger today. This is McGee now, he's moving through. And this is going to be the finish time for McGee. It's going to be a best time. The former World Pursuit champion, Bradley McGee, who was hoping to take the pink jersey for a 3rd time in the Giro. I don't think he'll have done enough for that, Paul, as he races up to the line. Bruce Eugène's time, which has sat here for well over an hour, is about to be bettered. 1:07:03, but not by the margins I think McGee was hoping. Well, there won't be a lot in it, but in theory, Honshaw should do this, and Brad McGee will be very upset about that. 1:07:03 is McGee's time. He's crossed swords with Honshaw out on the course today. He was quicker than him at the early checks, but now at the finishing line, it's reality time. 1:06:45, Honshaw is the new leader.
Looking here now at Jaroslav Popovic. At the end of the road, there's a possibility of a pink jersey for this man. It's going to be touch and go, but I think he just might do it by the skin of his teeth.
It's going to be really close. He's been getting slower and slower. He did his ride out in the hills on the tricky roads. He lost a little bit of strength to the fast men on the flat, but he's still going to be pink jersey elect. 1:07:19.
Look at Simoni's time there. It's outside already an hour and 8 minutes, so he will not be getting himself the pink jersey at the end of this afternoon stage, and he will drop down the overall classification by a few places, but he will come out and fight again. That is absolutely certain.
Here he comes, slipping out of the top 10 with this ride, which isn't a bad ride at the end of the day. 1:09:16 for 14th place. Cunego then has found that the only serious time trial of this year's race, a very long one indeed at 52 kilometres, has for him not been his target. I don't think anybody realistically expected him to keep the pink jersey. He won't go away that disappointed. He'll still very much be a player in the Giro. Big cheers for him. 23rd place, 1:09:47 for Damiano Cunego. So a great effort for Cunego, but it was a day for the Ukrainians as Sergei Honshaw took the race win. The big winner, though, was 3rd place finisher Jaroslav Popovic, who made his presence felt now by grabbing his first ever career pink jersey. The peloton headed on to Croatia for stage 14, and Alessandro Petacchi would get another chance at a sprint finish. He didn't waste the opportunity and won his 7th stage of this year's Giro, and that tied him for the post-war record among the greats. He now joins Giuseppe Cerrone, Freddie Mertens and Roger de Vlaming. The next stage will be Petacchi's last chance before the big mountains in the Dolomites. He didn't waste time either. Stage 15 was the longest of this year's race at 234 kilometres. It took the riders away from Porec to San Vendemiano.
Now again, you see, look at this, Fasaborto, they don't worry at all. Nobody can ruffle their feathers. They let people come round. They let people battle for the wheel of Alessandro Patacchi. Freddie Rodriguez there, up alongside Pollock. Get off that wheel, I want it. Freddie Rodriguez has got nerves of steel here, but Fasaborto, inside of 1 kilometre to go, are still in control. There in 4th position is Alessandro Patacchi. They're looking over their shoulders. Where is he? He's actually got somebody right in front of him, from Saunier Duval.
As we come in towards the home straight now, the last lead-out man for Patacchi, still 4th or 5th place. He's going to have to come from the back here now. He's going to have to watch too he doesn't get hemmed in as the rush starts for the line now. Will this be a record victory for Patacchi? I don't think it will be, because it's going to take them right up to line. Patacchi's holding late, as he always does. Rodriguez is still in the mix here alongside Patacchi. Uros Mernes on the far right of the road. Now comes the kick from Patacchi, and I think Nasdouche is in there as well. Nasdouche and Patacchi coming up to the line. This could be a victory. Now Patacchi opens up and hits the line. Unbelievable, this man. He has just set the record for the highest number of stage wins since the end of World War II. So, a new record had been set. Alessandro Patacchi now had 8 stage wins, emphasising his title as the king of the sprints. Jaroslav Popovic still held it overall, but by only 3 seconds over Gonshaw. Bradley McGee was showing great form in 3rd, and Gilberto Simoni was 4th, with Pelazzotti 5th. Up next, the road heads up as the major climbs approach on the next 4 stages. We'll be back. Welcome back as we look at the defining moments of last week's Tour of Italy. Well, we're now into the high mountains of the Dolomites. 4 steep passes on the programme on stage 16. It was time now to separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Damiano Cunego's putting in a huge attack now. He's 6th overall, and it'll be Popovic's job to chase him down. Figueres could play the spoiler there, but Simoni is in a great position.
And I think Eddie Mazzolini's popped as well, and he's going to leave it all up now to his team leader, Cunego. I think that's ciao, hasta la vista, baby, because this man has not asked for any help for anybody at all. He's just continued to pound out this unbelievable rhythm as he now rides solo at the front end of the bike race. And I would expect his team leader, Gilberto Simoni, will just ride a defensive role in the group behind.
There's the attack by Simoni. And no initial reaction. Then it came. Leonardo Giordani was the one that made the reaction there. But now this is the move we expected.
Simoni on the defensive there, Phil, just sitting at the back of the group, not too worried about trying to chase down his own teammate, because he realises this afternoon that he is actually putting a lot of pressure onto the shoulders of the man who started the day in the pink jersey.
Here he is, about to win his 3rd stage of the Giro. He has already had the pink jersey on 6 occasions in this race, and I'm pretty sure now he'll be pulling it on once again. And this time, it may be for keeps. We doubted whether this man had the stamina in the mountains at such a young age. Well, today he's climbed 4 big ones, and he's done it the hard way. He's come from the back, through the groups, ridden them all off his back wheel, to the front, and by the finishing line, after more than 6 hours in the saddle, Damiano Cunego will shortly be looking over his shoulder to see if yet again he is the Maglia Rosa of the Giro d'Italia. This will go down as his finest win as he hits the line. The clock starts now.
This young rider, just 24 years of age, in his 3rd attempt at the Giro d'Italia, is out on the open road. He's lost the pink jersey this afternoon.
Tonkov taking the line there, Paul. 3:49 is the gap. That is an enormous gap to lose. So Cunego's tactics have played out perfectly. With his 3rd win of this year's race, he regained the overall leader's jersey. After a much-needed rest day, the riders are back to the inclines now on stage 17 as they headed over the Paso del Mendola. This would be a stage for the resurrection of the veteran rider Pavel Tonkov. A few seconds ago, Pavel Tonkov decided he was not going to wait for Bertolini. This is what happened. He suddenly put on a little acceleration. He must have sensed that Bertolini was beginning to suffer. There was no reaction from Bertolini. He was very quickly put in his place, and he's now riding some distance behind in 2nd still. 1 kilometre to go. The arrival of Pavel Tonkov, the last foreigner to win this race back in 1996, hasn't won a race since stage 17 of the Giro d'Italia 2 years ago. And here he comes, déjà vu. Almost certainly a top 10 places now overall, probably in 10th place for Tonkov. It'll all depend on the finishing times of the other riders. Gone from that top 10 there will be Figueras, so he might even make 9th. But either way, it'll mean another great performance by this Russian cyclist in the Giro d'Italia. Here he comes at 35 years of age, his 15th season as a professional cyclist, his first win for 2 years, and he's done it so well as he crosses the line to complete the 17th stage of the Giro d'Italia. Exactly 2 years since his victory in this event, and no wins in between. Here he comes, Bertolini, racing home for 2nd place. Been a long break for him. He was already clear with 87 kilometres to go with Oscar Pozzi. Pozzi was taken back, and up came Tonkov to spoil a perfect day. And he takes 2nd place, but a consolation wave to the crowd. Well, we're quite surprised to see the pink jersey. They've wiped out all of those riders in between. We got no information on that at all. This might be Olivier Zog just holding them off here, having been one of the original 8 riders, but the pink jersey group has thinned out dramatically from about 45 riders to this small group. So there's been a major attack there, and look at Cunego go. That man taking on Brad McGee is full of beans. Here's the winner of the day. Won't affect the overall classification, but he's done extremely well now, Pavel Tonkov, to have yet another successful Giro d'Italia. You'll see it now as a big success. Gives Avina Calderola the first stage win of the Tour. So Tonkov's move proved a little bit too strong for the rest of the peloton, and he got his 7th career Giro stage win. Damiano Cunego did more than just hold on to. His lead over Gonshaw was now up to 1 minute 14. Popovic was still there at 2:22. Cunego's captain Simone in 4th, and Bradley McGee solid riding, keeping him in 5th. Don't go away. When we get back, it's the queen of this year's Giro, the toughie. Over the Gavia Pass we go. The defining moments for the 2004 Giro d'Italia, and stage 18 was short but not very sweet. The peloton faced 3 monstrous climbs, including this year's highest point, the Cima Coppi over the Gavia Pass. And the quiet Stefano Garzelli was thinking it was about time to make some noise. On the left of our picture, Stefano Garzelli has picked off all of the debris from the early breakaway, except one rider up front now who's still leading, and the big teams of the pink jersey are still pacemaking at around a minute or so, and I suspect even more than that now behind Garzelli.
They've closed the gap down to Garzelli.
They have.
It's just about 1 minute now, so things well in hand by the Saeco team. And it'll just be a question of how well Cunego can handle the last climb after such a difficult day out on the roads, not to mention the 2.5 weeks of bike racing we've had so far.
So Garzelli knows now that they're coming back to him. He hasn't seen them since he attacked on the climb of the Gavia Pass. We can see them now over his shoulder. He's going to feel the hot air as the riders sweep by.
Garzelli going off the back here with Pelizzotti.
Well, there's a heck of a turn of speed by the riders on the front there. They really did lift the tempo, and that has really hurt Garzelli. And it's not surprising now then that this is the move. Here comes the first move from Simone. Now he's attacking the pink jersey by the look of it.
And Simone here has accelerated once again, and he's put time now between himself and Emmanuel Sella.
Well, there's the gap now. He looked as though he was faltering. He's actually cracked little Emmanuel Sella.
The gap between Gilberto Simone and the chasing 3, the men in that group, which is his own teammate Damiano Cunego, is not opening up at all. In fact, it's coming down.
Here comes the catch now. Cioni has dragged 2 riders up to the team captain of Saeco. And there's another move here. This will be Julio Perez now, who's trying to sprint the gap closed as well. Former King of the Mountains. Well, I must say, I think that Gilberto Simone probably knows what he feels like inside, but I think he must be surprised at who is doing the pacemaking. Further back down the slopes, Popovic trying valiantly to preserve his 3rd place in this race, but I don't think he can do that now, because I think that Simone is still going to win this race.
Popovic is a long way behind, but there's the acceleration from Cunego. He's trying to lead out his teammate, but you know what? There is no way Gilberto Simone can actually get onto the wheel.
Well, he'll get a small bonus for 2nd place, 12 seconds, because this man is sprinting away to his 4th stage win, and he's wearing the pink jersey, and that just tells you he is the new dominance of the Giro d'Italia, and this year nobody is going to beat him. This is going to be a fabulous result. Where are they all? As he crosses the line, and here comes 2nd. Dario Cioni gets 2nd, and in fact Honchar gets 3rd. Simone didn't even get a bonus.
Coming in there, 2 minutes in arrears, Stefano Garzelli. You have to take your hat off to that man because he tried to break the stranglehold of this young rising star. 22.5 years of age, Phil. I find that absolutely incredible, the way this man has dominated the race. He's been very calm and collected. He actually tried to help his own teammate get the victory this afternoon, but when he kicked with around about 100 meters to go, I don't think anybody at all in that group could respond.
Yet another brilliant ride from the 22-year-old Damiano Cunego, who collected his 4th Giro stage win, and he strengthened his lead overall. Gonchar was still there in 2nd place, with Simoni knocking Popovic away from the 3rd spot. Dario Cioni was also on a roll and had now moved up to 5th. Things look good now for Cunego, but there was still one more mountain stage to go. We'll relive that when we get back. Welcome back. We're up to the penultimate stage now of a look back at the defining moment of the 2004 Giro d'Italia, and it was do or die for the challengers as time was running out. Stage 19 took the riders 122 kilometres over 3 more climbs, and the old rivals Stefano Garzelli and Gilberto Simoni were trying to save face in this year's race and work together on the attack. This is the pink jersey of Damiano Cunego. He's now being put under pressure by, in fact, his team captain, Gilberto Simoni, who is ahead.
It's going to be very interesting to see just how he and the rest of Team Saeco do respond to this attack. Admittedly, Gilberto Simoni went out on the attack to cover a move, an initial move by Stefano Garzelli. But once he saw that they'd got a gap on the pink jersey group, he decided to have a go for himself. He may be thinking about moving up to 2nd place in the overall classification, but in the back of his mind, the way he is riding here, Bob, I think he wants to try and steal the pink jersey back.
The crowd here, I think, mixed emotions about Gilberto Simoni, whether to cheer him or boo him. But I have to say, this last couple of kilometres, he seems to have pulled back.
I think he's now turned back into the role of teammate for Damiano Cunego. He realises that he's not going to get the big gap. He's not going to pull 3 minutes back on his teammate. So I think he has to keep a very close eye on Stefano Garzelli. Looks like Gilberto Simoni has now been given the OK by the team to go forward and ride. He's looking to try and get himself 2nd place in the overall classification. He needs 1 minute and 36 seconds if he's going to take that away from Sergei Gonchar. And let's not forget there are still time bonuses on the finish line.
Here comes the lineup for the finish now. Stefano Garzelli will wait till the last possible moment, and Simoni will continue to race for those seconds because he needs 1 minute and 30 to cross the line to get the 2nd place overall. There's the opening up of the sprint now, so Garzelli gets the win. Richly deserves it. He was well beaten yesterday in the mountains. Now he bounces back on this last day in the Dolomites. Clock starts now for Simoni.
We get a chance now to see where these 2 men finish, and then what we'll have to do is wait for the arrival of Sergei Gonchar.
As he comes up now, Cunego not even taking him on, letting him, he's done all the work, give him his place, and the 53-second margin there.
Here is Sergei Gonchar.
If it's 1:22 or less, then he will have lost 2nd place, and it's 1:22 on the line. That is going to go crucially to what the judges have accurately timed. Simoni, because he was racing all the way to the line for those seconds, and it's going to be crucial on the countback as to whether indeed he's got 2nd place, he had to concede the stage win to Stefano Garzelli. So, on a stage that will long be remembered in the history of the Giro, Stefano Garzelli takes the win. Gilberto Simoni's 2nd place effort, though, was not quite good enough to overtake Cunego, and it certainly wasn't good enough to overtake Gonchar. Gonchar held on to 2nd place by just 3 seconds. Dario Cioni had moved into 4th, and Popovic was slipping back. He was now in 5th. So the Giro was set, and all Damiano Cunego had to do was ride to the finish on the final stage. Stage 20, though, was set up for a sprint in Milan, and Alessandro Petacchi was looking to add another win and open up that record.
The team of Fassa Bortolo are doing a magnificent job. This is Tossato on the front. They're lining up now for the final bend. The man who will take over will be Marco Velo, still in 3rd position, Alessandro Petacchi.
Well, there's just one man left to lead him out now as Velo takes up the running now. He's led him perfectly in the past, but everybody is poised there. They're going to give him too much leeway here as the peloton starts to shake up. Petacchi now goes 100 metres from the line. There's a challenge all of the way here, but I'm not sure it's going to mean a thing because Alessandro Petacchi made that one an absolute formality.
One of the best lead-outs I think I've ever seen on all of these years of commentating bikers. There was no chance for anybody else. I think he stopped pedaling about 50 meters from the line, and he still was able to win.
So a final look at the general classification. Damiano Cunego won his first ever Giro d'Italia in a time of 88 hours and 40 minutes. He beat Sergei Gonchar, had a great ride himself, by 2:02, and that was his best finish. Gilberto Simoni third. He's been third before. He's also got 2 wins as well in this event. Another great ride coming there from Dario Cioni, who was rarely out of the top 7 in this race. Jaroslav Popovic, he's had a 3rd last year, a 5th this time around. He can't be too unhappy. Looking further down, Stefano Garzelli, the winner in 2000, he finished in 6th place. And the only American in the race, Freddy Rodriguez, he came home in 99th, but he did get a stage victory. And this was the scene on the podium in Milan. And Damiano Cunego and his team leader, Gilberto Simoni, well, seemingly they are now the best of friends. Yes, a happy Seiko team on the podium there, and well they might be, because they got the win, 3rd overall, 2nd in the King of the Mountains, and of course they won the team prize as well. So they have a lot of money to share out at the end of that race. Well, Paul, just give me one defining moment. I know there were plenty, it's difficult.
I think my defining moment was really for Damiano Cunego over the big mountain pass of the Gavia. I expected him to be put under difficulty because, after all, he's only 22.5 years of age. But on the final climb up to Bormio 2000, with 200 metres to go, I thought he was going to lead out Gilberto Simoni, but his acceleration, his jump was so much that he went on to take a very defining sprint win for me, and that, to me, was the crowning glory on his Giro d'Italia.
One thing's for sure now, Bob, we will get his name next year, because he won't come back in this race as a surprise anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. Cunego now a big star of international cycling. For me, my best moment, Alessandro Petacchi's 9th win in the streets of Milano while wearing the Ciclamino jersey, unable to finish last year's Giro d'Italia. Also, it illustrates perfectly the finishing touches by Petacchi after a great lead out from his Fossa Bortolo teammates. No one could come around him. He didn't even have to pedal the last 50 meters of the race, and still had enough time to look behind him, salute to everybody that he had just demolished in the sprint, and come across the line, hands aloft with the Ciclamino jersey. A great finish to the Giro d'Italia.
Absolutely right. Well, I'll go a little bit lower down the overall classification, because last year Cunego just scraped into the top 35 finishes in his first tour. Well, it was a top 15 finish for Emmanuel Sella, and he rode superbly when he rode everybody off his wheel. Remember, he's a new professional. He won 10 races last year as an amateur rider. So I wonder if we might be talking about him next year as a man most likely to succeed Cunego. Right, now one big tour ends. The next big tour is nearly with us, of course. It's the Tour de France. Lance Armstrong going for a 6th straight win. If he gets it, that will be the outright record in the Tour de France for the number of wins. He'll have formed his own club. You can watch every day live with us, of course, here on OLN as we begin our coverage on July the 3rd, coming directly from Liège in Belgium, and then every day right to the finish. That's the 2004 Tour de France. It'll hit your airwaves on Saturday, July the 3rd. Right, well, that about wraps it up for our coverage of the Giro d'Italia. I say thank you to Bobby and to Paul. Bobby Roll there now can go out on his bike by himself. Paul Sherwen won't have to wait for any of us when we go out on our little rides after each programme. Until the next time, from us all, goodbye.